So more action from the January 6th committee as they release information related to Congressman Barry Lourdermilk. There's a name for you. Another one of these GOP lackeys who have been associated with Trump's conspiracy theories and the indefensible defense of the January 6th insurrection and essentially what was a coup on Trump's part. Lourdermilk has been all along denying this story that was swirling around them, being involved in a tour of the Capitol prior to the insurrection. And in fact, he took a very aggressive stance against those who brought up such claims. But now, as always seems to happen to these corrupt GOP congresspeople, evidence appears that he was involved in such a tour and that the people in the tour were taking pictures. And one of these people is also on camera somewhere casting aspersions toward Democratic members of Congress and making all kinds of threats. So question is, does this have astrological traction? There's no birth time for this guy, but even just looking at the day positions, it's striking to see all those Capricorn planets and this situation emerging after Jupiter enters Aries, which is the sign where it's placed at birth. But of course, from there, it squares his early Capricorn group of planets, thereby making it a potentially dangerous planet, depending on the context. This would be one such context, being involved in some kind of illegal activity. And so Jupiter enters Aries, creates the square in transit, and he's getting this kind of action. Plus, even more worrying is that he's on a Saturn return this year, and especially so in the fall, because in the fall, Saturn is going to be right on those degrees in a station. So 2022 is the Saturn return year, but the fall is especially intense. You don't want this kind of action around a big Saturn return cycle such as that. And then to cap it all off and make it potentially extremely dangerous for him, you notice there's a Pluto-Moon opposition. Now, we don't know how tight that is, but it's going to be there regardless. Move it back from the noon showing that I have here or move it forward, and you still get an opposition. Tightest would be near the middle of the day. However, Pluto is on that account loaded for bear, and it's right on top of his Venus this year, which of course can link him to this kind of thing, because this is one of the downsides of Pluto. Pluto is associated with things like insurrections and every manner of terrorism and this kind of thing. So will this guy escape this particular problem? Perhaps he has a birth time to give him some kind of ascendant or midheaven or some other thing to save him. But it's looking pretty tricky to me. And given his proclivities and given what it looks like he has done, let's just say that I hope he doesn't. I hope he gets in as much trouble as possible. So in terms of his political future, he is a House representative from Georgia's 11th district. And in 2020, he defeated Dana Barrett by 20 points. So on that basis, and to the extent that this district is a Republican stronghold, and I'm not sure if it is, but I suspect it is, he would look to be in a pretty good position. However, given the aspects that are present in his day position, what I've outlined, I think there's a significant risk that he might be unseated this November, which of course would be a very welcome sight, since in terms of this upcoming election, every seat that can go to the Democrats is going to be very, very important.